Hi, my sweet and favorite students. Welcome back. Today we're talking about Lesson 48, Saxon 1/2, Algebra 1/2, Pre-Algebra, 3rd edition. I am on page 157. All right, we're going to be talking about fractional portions or fractional parts of a number, fractional equations. When a lot of this in the Saxon stuff says, hey, draw a diagram of this. In this case, I actually think it's a lot easier if you don't draw a diagram, but we just go based off of math and English words. So if you're in my class, you need to be taking notes as we go along. So example number 1, we are going to talk about these guys. We, just a reminder, when we talk about fractional parts of numbers, we say like, let me actually see here, what number is something of something else, right? So that's what we're going to be, that's what this whole lesson is going to be about today. So example number 1, there it is. What fraction of 75 is 25? Okay, there's 2 ways to do this. I think the easiest way is to let's convert between English and math. Then I'll show you the second way that I do things, which is fraction equals fraction, then we cross multiply and all that good stuff. First things first, what fraction? Remember the word what means x, and of means multiply, right? And then is means equals. So x fraction of means multiply, 75 is means equals 25. All right, so what we're doing is we're taking x and we're multiplying it by 75. Let me write this in a way that looks a little bit more familiar. X 75 equals 25. Okay, so all we have to do is get that x by itself and we have our answer. To get our x by itself, we're multiplying here, and the opposite of multiply is to divide. If we divide both sides by 75, these cancel out, these cancel out. X equals 25 over 75, but my friends, you must always reduce. These are like quarters. We can divide both the top and bottom by 25. We get 1 over 3. So X equals 1/3. So what fraction of 75 is 25? That would be 1/3. 1/3. Okay, let's take a look at some of these other ones. Example number 2. Okay, for example number 2, 5/7 of what number is 5/2? So 5/7 of what number is 5/2? 5/2. All right, guys, so when we're multiplying here, and the opposite of multiply is divide. But if I do that, I'm dividing by what's called a complex fraction, or a wonky looking fraction there. We're dividing fraction by fraction, and we never divide fractions. What we do instead is we multiply by the reciprocal. And so that's what we're going to do here to get x by itself. So since we are multiplying on these guys, we're going to do the opposite, which is divide. 7 over 5. And the reason why we do this cancels out with this cancels out with this, and I'm left with just x. But if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So I'm going to divide by 7 over 5. So x equals, now we can multiply straight across top, straight across the bottom, but before we do that, let's cross cancel to make our life easier. This guy and this guy, those both go away. If I divide by 5, divide by 5. So what I have left is, upstairs I have 1 times 7, which is 7, and downstairs 2 times 1, which is 2. So that would be my answer. Let's look at some of these other ones. Example number 3. 5/7 of 5/2 is what number? 5/7 of 5/2 is what number? Well, this one, be very careful on these guys, because we don't actually need to multiply by the reciprocal, right? Because the x is already all by itself. So this one, we just multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. And when I do that, I get 35 over 14 equals x. 35 over 14 equals x. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, let's see. We've got one more example. Otherwise, we got one more example is what I mean to say. So what number, this is on page 159, what number is 7/9 of 450? So what number, that means x, is 7/9 of 450? Okay, well, this is just like fraction over fraction, or make it, we want to multiply fraction times fraction, do straight across the top, straight across the bottom, so I'm going to put 450 over 1. The other thing is, too, I can cross cancel. If I divide this by 9, I get 1. If I divide this by 9, I get 50. Okay, So what do I have now? Downstairs, I have 1 times 1, which is just 1. So I don't even need to put anything downstairs, because if we have 1 downstairs, we're good. 7 times 5 gives me 35 with an extra 0. So we have 350. X equals, and it would be over 1, but we don't need to write it like that. So X equals 350. All right, you guys, practice problems are on page 159. Go ahead and pause the video, do those, and then come on back and we'll go through them together. All right, for A, what fraction of 20 is 140? All right, so what fraction, what means X, of 20 is 140? All right, we're taking a look at this. We're multiplying here, and the opposite, we want to get the ideas. We want to get the X by itself. So the opposite of multiply is divide. Divide that, divide that. This cancels out, this cancels out, whoops. X equals, now I can lob these zeros off, and 14 divided by 2, that gives me 7. 14 divided by 2 is 7. All right, let's take a look at B. 7/5 of what number is 3/8? 7/5 of what number is 3/8? All right, I want to get that X by itself, and the opposite of multiply is divide, but I can never divide fractions. I multiply by the reciprocal. If I do that, this cancels out, and I'm left with just X all by itself. But if I do it on one side, I must do it on the other. All right, taking a look at this guy, it looks like these, we're not gonna be able to cancel anything out, so we're just gonna multiply straight across the top, which is 15, and straight across the bottom, which is 56. So for B, you get 15/56. All right. Let's see. 5/13 of 26 is what number? 5/13 of 26 is what number? Okay, again, that X is already all by itself, so we just have to multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. Let's go ahead and put that over 1. In this case, I can cross cancel. If I divide 13 by 1, I get 1. If I divide 26 by 13, I get 2. So downstairs I have 1 times 1, which is just itself. Upstairs I have 5 times 2, which is 10. 10 equals X on those guys. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, that is it for this lesson 48, and I will see you on the next lesson. Thanks, guys.